Hello everyone, welcome to SAM IELTS YouTube channel. How are you all? I hope you are all fine. Well, this channel is actually dedicated to the IELTS aspirants who want to get band 8 plus in the first attempt itself. Either you are a student or you are a working professional, you need to clear your IELTS exam before going to English speaking countries. Also, this channel provides a lot of information regarding the basic to the advanced level of English. So, if you want to learn English from basic to the advanced level, if you are a professional to climb up the professional ladder, English is a mandatory language and you are welcome to watch this channel. So, without further delay, let's get started in today's topic. Perhaps today's topic is one of the vital video that you watch for the IELTS reading in 2022. So, I am going to discuss a lot of points about the IELTS reading, how to pass IELTS reading 2022 tips, techniques, methods. So, what is all about? So, as I mentioned you earlier, today's topic is all about the IELTS reading. Before getting into the tips, I am going to give you an overview of the IELTS reading. Though you know, just listen to this for a couple of minutes. In the IELTS reading, especially, you need to answer for 40 questions in 60 minutes. And it consists of 3 sections. There are passage 1, passage 2 and passage 3. It is same for both the IELTS academic as well as the IELTS general. In the IELTS academic, you need to understand the passage is more of scientific related papers. And in the IELTS general, it is more of from the magazines, newspapers, textbooks and so on. So, the IELTS academic has more technical details as well as the IELTS general has more general details. So, with this minute details, let me jump into the IELTS reading techniques. So, I want to tell you one thing very clearly. The section 1 is very easy. Section 2 is medium and the section 3 is higher. This is how the IELTS examiner actually framed the IELTS reading question pattern. Let's understand the techniques tips. You need to understand that the passages gets harder as it proceeds. So, how to solve it? I am going to reveal you 2 reading techniques that you can actually use to crack this reading exam. First thing, slow reading, which means you are going to search for the particular words, just for the particular words and understand the passage. Listen to me, this slow reading you cannot do first. Well, I am going to discuss you 2 reading techniques that you can actually use to crack the IELTS reading to get band 8 or band 9 in the first attempt. Well, what are these techniques? First thing is the fast reading technique, which means you are going to read the text in the fast manner that you need to understand only the gist. For example, understand you are going through a car. The car is running at 100 kilometers per hour. So, what do you observe from the surroundings? You just see what is going on, that's all. You are not looking into the minute details. That is how you need to look into the passage. Which means you are just observing the details as the overall and understanding the gist. But you are not looking for any particular details. This is very important for certain question type. So, you need to understand this fast reading technique will actually help you to analyze the gist of the passage, which will help you in certain type of questions. So, what is the next type of reading? Well, the next type of reading is for the slow reading technique, which means you are looking for a specific details. For example, consider the same car example. You are going through the car, however, you want to search for a particular market. So, what you will do? You will slow down your car, you will search for the shop name and then you will identify the shop and stop there. This is how the slow reading actually works, and this works for certain question types. So, what are these question types? So, in the IELTS reading, you need to understand there are 11 question types. True, false not given, yes, no not given, match the heading, match the information, short answer questions, flowchart questions, diagram labeling and so on. So, you need to understand that these 2 techniques you can use for different question types. This will not work for the same question type. So, let me explain how to use these 2 techniques in the question types. So, let's understand the short reading question type. What is short answer question type? You need to understand the short answer questions are the questions which just give the question and the examiner will not give you any choice or any options to choose down. You need to read the passage, understand the passage and just write the words. So, what technique, what type of reading will you use for this? First, you need to understand, you need to identify the keywords in the question. Remember, the identifying the keywords in the question is most important. Then moving on into the fast reading, which is speed reading. So you are going to just scan the passage, just scan for the particular word. Remember, this is an IELTS, it's an international English exam test. So you are just going to find out either the same word or the synonymous word. So once you find those kind of words, at least 2 words, you stop there and you do the slow reading. So in the short answer questions, you are using both fast reading as well as slow reading, which will actually help you to find out the answer just in minutes, not even in minutes, just in seconds. So this is how you are going to implement the fast reading as well as slow reading for a particular question type, which is actually called as the short answer question type. So hope you understand that the fast reading and slow reading combine together to get the answer very quickly and grasply. Right. So you need to understand that there are 11 question types and each question type has different method. The method and the technique will vary according to the question type. This method will not work out for the match the heading or match the information. So please remember, the method, technique, tips will differ from question to question. Let's get into the other details of the IELTS reading. So what are the other details of the IELTS reading which is challenging for the IELTS aspirants? Let me tell you one thing very clearly. Answering for the 40 questions in 60 minutes is quite challenging. So I'm going to give you few another tips which is very significant in the IELTS reading. So what are these tips? Tip number 1, no one knows the answer. Remember, trust me, no one knows the answer. So everybody in the hall is actually searching for the answer from the passage and writing. So be confident and search for your answers. Tip number 2, if you are not able to find out the answer for a period of time, just skip the question. Yes, remember, I am not asking you to leave the empty space in the answer sheet. I am asking you to skip the question for a while, go to the next question, find out the answer, and at the last you can search for the answer. Else you can just make a wild guess, because there is no negative markings in the IELTS exam. So tip number 2, just skip the question if you don't able to find out the answer. And what is the next important thing? The next important thing is that time management. Because as I told you, time management is really crucial. So if you are an IELTS general aspirant, then remember this, you need to complete passage 1 in 15 minutes, which is actually you can just complete in 12 minutes, because you know the passage 1 was really easy, and passage 2 you should give yourself 15 minutes of time to understand and to find out the answer from the passage 2. In the passage 3, it's quite hard. You need to give some time. At least you need to give 20 to 25 minutes of your time to understand the passage, to understand the question type, to find out answer from the passage 3. So remember, the passage 3 takes a lot of time. So complete the passage 1 and the passage 2 within 15 minutes of time. And in the passage 3, you need to spend around 20 to 25 minutes of time. And the last 5 minutes, what do you do in the last 5 minutes? Remember, in the last 5 minutes, you need to cross-check your answer, which means whether you have written the correct answer in the correct serial number, as well as you need to check for the spelling mistakes, because spelling mistakes are very simple. Though it is a simple mistake, you lose marks in the IELTS reading exam, and we don't want to do that. So I want you to do the cross-checking review of the IELTS answers in the last 5 minutes. Either you take paper-based test or you take computer-based test. Please do remember, in the computer-based test, you may think that you can just copy from the text passage and you can just paste it in the answer column. No, please don't do that, because it is a computer-based test. Just type your answer. Never try copy-paste technique in the IELTS reading in computer-based test in 2022. Also, in the paper-based test, I would strictly advise you to copy one section of the answers once you complete and then move on to the next section. Because remember, in the IELTS reading, you will not get enough time, which means you will not get any extra time to transfer the answer to the answer sheet like the listening module. So please be aware, just copy the answers to the answer sheet once you complete one section and then move on to the next section. No extra time to transfer the answer. So this all about the IELTS reading technique. If you really want to understand the reading techniques more, you can visit www.samielts.in, or you can book a free demo at 9043140844, and our expert teachers will answer you all your questions. You can even have a free demo. Remember, I told you there are 11 question types. Match the heading, match the information, true, false, not given, yes, no, not given, short answer questions, and so on. So, you need to understand that IELTS reading question is a mix and match question paper, which means you cannot predict or determine which type of questions will come. So, you need to be prepared to understand the methods and techniques for all the questions. That is one important point that you need to understand while preparing for the IELTS reading. So, you need to understand that you have enough time in the IELTS reading. It is up to you. You need to use the time vitally to produce your answers more effectively. That is the important step that you need to understand in the IELTS reading. And the next important thing is that don't scan here and there. See, you need to understand, by and large, the questions comes in order, which means when you find the first answer question in the second line of the passage, it is implicit that the second question will comes in the third line or in the fourth line, which means you need to scan down the passage. You never need to scan up and down. By and large, this plays a major role. However, there is few exceptions for this question. So, you need to understand, don't scan up and down, which wastes you a lot of time. The second thing is that always check for the synonyms. Remember, this is the international English exam, so you always never look for the exact right words, which is available just only 10%, and remaining 90% you need to understand that will be the synonymous language. Synonyms means just paraphrasing, nothing else. So you need to understand the synonymous language which is actually used in the IELTS reading exam. So while going and preparing for the reading exam, always check on for the synonymous vocabulary that will actually enhance your IELTS reading score. This is one important tip that you need to know regarding the IELTS reading in 2022 before attending the exam. Either you go on for the paper-based test or you go on for the computer-based test. This synonymous language plays a vital role in increasing your band score to band 8 or band 9 plus in the first attempt itself. So, right. So, with this note, I'm just signing off today. So, I hope you are preparing for the IELTS 2022. So, all the very best to you. If you really like this video, please like, share and subscribe to this video. Also, never forget to follow us in the Instagram community, where you will get a daily dosage of the IELTS methods, techniques, tips, questions, answers and so on. Well, what's more? So, let's meet in another video. Thank you. I'm signing off.